road struggles continue. But now we look ahead, Brick. We look ahead to the final 5 games before the Four Nations tournament. And the good news, based on what we were talking about in terms of home road splits, is that 4 of the next 5 games are on home ice. And that starts tonight against the Winnipeg Jets. You got the Rangers on Saturday. Tuesday at home against the Wild, who are without Kirill Kaprizov, who's going to be on the shelf for a month. So you catch a break there. Back-to-back, you got the Rangers again on Wednesday night, and then on February 8th, which is a week from Saturday, you got the Golden Knights at home. They're in a battle with the Edmonton Oilers in the Pacific Division. So, Brick, just sort of high level, your take on the next 5.
Crucial, critical. I got my fingers crossed that the Bruins get healthier. They need to get better on the back end. Just the comments from Joe Sacco told you, it was a complete group effort, the loss to the Sabres, but I thought they gave up their blue line far too easily, and the defensive structure was just non-existent. And if you don't have that against these teams coming up over the next 5, you're in serious trouble, whether it's on home ice or on the road. So that's just big picture number 1. 3 Western teams, you get a pretty good idea. The West is pretty strong when you start talking about Vegas, Minnesota, certainly Winnipeg. Winnipeg blew you out when you were in Winnipeg earlier this year. Even without Kaprizov, the Wild are a tough team to play against. They're well coached and they have good depth. In Vegas, last game before the break, everybody wants to go on a winning note. And I just think those 3 Western games will be extremely tough for Boston. And then you get the 2 with the Rangers. And the last time you played the Rangers, if I'm not mistaken, they were in shambles.
Yeah.
And they still found a way to beat you, down there at MSG. So a lot of reasons to up your game, a lot of reasons for a little payback when you talk about teams that you've already played. But more importantly, where you are in the standings and how badly you need the points. And you hope the fact that they have good success over the last 12 games, 13 games on home ice will put them in the right mindset. You hope that the lessons learned and the way you performed in Buffalo has an immediate effect. I used the word, this game can be humbling when I was talking to Joe after the game, and it's how you respond after you've been humbled. And there have been games, again to Joe's point, where they have bounced back. When they have that bounce back ability, and you think about the Florida trip, right, on the mother's trip, right? They don't get the job done in Tampa, but then they have a huge win down in Sunrise, and you could point to a number of examples where they've done that. It was a good win over Ottawa after that, the bad game in New Jersey. So, yeah, you can point to certain examples, but the test will be really tough. Because it is the Winnipeg Jets, one of the best teams, if not the best team in the league right now. So starting with that, you got to play the games that are in front of you one at a time. You can't look too far ahead to the break. You can't be going on vacation in your mind right now. Now's not the time. It's very important. You don't know what's going to happen in terms of individual players' futures even during the break before you even start talking about the trade deadline, as the first big domino has already fallen across the league, right, with the Rantanen deal with Colorado and Carolina. So all that being said, it's an opportunity, Adam. It's the word we like to use a lot. Every game, every situation, given the position that you're in, is an opportunity, and you want the players to seize it. And hopefully, again, they get some reinforcements for this little 5-game stretch.
Yeah, like you mentioned, a blowout loss to the Jets to kick off that road trip where you allowed 8 goals. The Rangers 2-1 loss. That was really tough at MSG because the Rangers were not in a good way at that point yet. Plenty of opportunities in that game, not able to capitalize. You haven't played the Wild yet. You'll see them in Minnesota in March. You got the Rangers again to close out the season series, and then you got the Golden Knights, who you'll see in that big trip out west in March. And so that's the schedule for the Bruins. And I was just thinking too, Brick, as you were talking, it's not apples to apples. I understand that, but remember how well the Bruins were playing before the break. And then they had the break, and they come back from the break, and they sort of laid an egg in Columbus, and things sort of snowballed from there. I'm thinking of this 2-week break, a much longer break. I know some guys are going to be Four Nations. They'll get back to work and practice the week before, but you got to take a lesson from that little mini break, don't you?
You would hope. You certainly would hope. And I like the fact that the Bruins only have 2 players in the Four Nations. There are some teams that have 6 or 7, and you think about the workload on those players, not only through the Four Nations, but then immediately thereafter.
Well, they do have the four players in the Four Nations. They should Swayman, McAvoy, Marchand, and Lindholm.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about.
Yeah.
I was just thinking Marchand and McAvoy because of the commercial I see.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, the other
bad,
2 guys aren't in there.
My bad. Yeah. I don't know how much Swayman will play.
Yeah, right.
I don't know if that'll be as taxing as it might be on, say, a McAvoy.
Right.
I don't know how much Brad Marchand will play. I think they like his leadership and his compete, but I don't know if and maybe kill some penalties. But I haven't done a deep dive on this, and
Sure.
as far as how much those 4 players will play, but other teams have 6 or 7 guys going. But the demand coming out of the break and what is expected of your top guys that are playing in the Four Nations, and what are you going to get coming out of there? What do they have? 7 games leading up, or 6 games leading up to the March 7th trade deadline?
Right.
If things haven't happened already, if you think the Bruins are going to address their roster construction, but it seems like it's in the distance, but it is right around the corner. But really, as players, it's all about focusing on the next game. That's all it is. It sounds cliche-ish, but that's all it is for this team right now. It's not a 3-game segment. It's not a 5-game segment. It's a 1-game segment against the Winnipeg Jets.